Ladies and gentlemen, let's be honest. Everyone loves the idea of success until it's time to walk alone. You say, I'm going to chase my dream. And your friends say, bro, we're with you. But the moment you actually start, they vanish faster in free Wi-Fi signals. You call them, hey, bro, let's meet. I'm working on something big. They'll reply, next week, I'm a bit busy. 3 years later, they're still a bit busy. That's life. Because when the road gets serious, funny people disappear. When you start walking alone, you realize success is like the gym. Everyone wants results, but no one wants to show up daily and sweat. You must learn to walk alone because no one will clap for you in the beginning. When you start improving, people won't say, good job. They'll say, you've changed. Of course, you've changed. You were supposed to. Even your phone gets an update every month. Why shouldn't your mindset? When you start walking alone, people will think you're arrogant. When you stop replying instantly, they'll say you're rude. When you stop wasting time, they'll say you're boring. But when success finally arrives, they'll say, I always knew you'd make it. Really, you didn't even reply to my text when I was struggling. Think about it. When Messi left his home at 13 to chase football in another country, he was alone. When Elon Musk slept on the floor of his factory, everyone called him crazy. Now they call him visionary. When Shah Rukh Khan came to mom with nobody and no name, no friends, no family, he walked alone. Even Taylor Swift wrote songs in her bedroom after being rejected by every label. That loneliness made her legendary. You see, walking alone is not punishment, it's training. When your On-a-Person Health creative AI powered meals and activity tracker track meals and activities with voiceful photos. I analyzes your data. Get personalized recommendations that actually work. Try for free sponsored alone. You meet the version of you that doesn't depend on anyone's approval. That version is dangerous because it doesn't wait to be understood. It just works. But let's be real, it's not easy. You'll feel lonely, you'll overthink, you'll doubt yourself. You'll scroll Instagram and see your friends chilling, eating pizza, traveling, doing nothing. And you'll think, maybe I should relax too. No, while they're enjoying now, you're building something that will feed you forever. Remember, every party you skip now will turn into peace later. Every lonely night you spend working will one day make people ask, how did you do it? Success is lonely because the crowd loves comfort, not growth. You'll start alone, you'll struggle alone. You'll learn alone. And one day, you'll shine so bright that even the people who left you will need sunglasses. Look, even in movies, it's the same. Rocky trained alone. Batman works alone. Iron Man built his suit alone in a cave. That's why they're heroes. Not because they had a squad, because they had courage when no one else did. So stop expecting people to understand your grind. They won't. They don't need to. It's your dream, not theirs. The higher you climb, the quieter it gets. Not because people hate you, because not everyone is built for the mountain. Some people are meant for the ground floor. So my friends, when you feel like no one gets you, remember this. Walking alone doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're focused. You know what's funny? The moment you decide to walk alone, people start calling you names. Bro, you've become antisocial. No, bro. I've become focused. You think I'm ignoring you, but I'm actually ignoring my distractions. There's a big difference between being lonely and being in peace. Lonely is when you have no one. Peace is when you finally realize you don't need everyone. And trust me, the moment you stop chasing people, the right ones start noticing you. You stop begging for company and you start attracting respect. Let's be honest, most people aren't really your friends. They're just comfortable with your old version. The version that wasted time, scrolled memes, and said, let's see tomorrow. The moment you start growing, they panic because your growth reminds them of their laziness. You'll notice this. When you fail, everyone will have time for you. When you win, suddenly everyone's busy because sus exposes insecurity. Even in real life, look at how it works. When Cristiano Ronaldo started training at 13, his teammates laughed at him for staying back after practice. Now those same players watching him from their TV. When Oprah was fired from her first job, her boss said she wasn't fit for television. Now she owns a network. The crowd always laughs before it claps. And let's talk about that phase when you start walking alone. That awkward silence phase. No texts, no plans, no bro. Where are you? Messages. At first, you'll feel like something's wrong. You'll open your phone every 5 minutes just to check notifications. Nothing. That's the test. That's the moment the world is asking. Do you really want this? And if you pass that test, if you keep walking, even when no one claps, you're becoming unstoppable. Because when you're alone, you start hearing your own voice again. And let me tell you, your voice is powerful. You realize you don't need 10 people to believe in, you just need one you. But here's the fun part. Once your journey starts working, once people see results, you'll notice how fast no one becomes everyone. Suddenly, everyone wants to collaborate. Everyone wants to say, we always supported you. Right, you supported me in silence. It's like when a singer becomes famous and suddenly everyone from school says, we were classmates. Bro, you didn't even talk to me back then. You just borrowed my notes. So don't be angry at them. They're not bad. They're just spectators. They only clap when the show starts. But the real performer prepares when no one's watching. So if you're in that lonely chapter right now, don't quit. That's the chapter where your story is being written. That's where you build your strength, your identity, your purpose. Because the truth is, walking alone doesn't make you weak. It makes you rare. Most people are scared of silence. They need noise to feel alive. But those who can survive the quiet will one day create noise so loud the world will stop to listen. Every great person you admire learned to walk alone. Steve Jobs kicked out of his own company. He could have quit instead. He came back and changed the world. Malala was shot for going to school. She could have stayed silent, but she walked alone and became a voice for millions. Even Michael Jordan, the guy who made basketball a religion, got rejected from his high school team. He didn't cry. He didn't blame anyone. He went home, practiced alone, and came back unstoppable. You see the pattern. Every person who became somewhere first walked through a phase where no one believed in them. And here's something no one tells you. When you walk alone, your world becomes smaller, but your vision becomes bigger. You lose people, but you find purpose. You stop getting likes, but you start gaining respect. You stop chasing validation and start building confidence. That's when you realize loneliness is not empty. It's full of lessons. You start learning how to think for yourself. You stop asking, what do people think of me? And start asking, what do I think of myself? That's a powerful switch, because when your opinion matters more than their opinion, you're free. You know, in school, everyone wants to sit in groups. But have you noticed the topper, the artist, the dreamer, they're usually in the corner. Not because they're weird, because they've already started walking alone while the rest are busy gossiping. You'll see this in life too. People who walk alone get called crazy first, then lucky later, and finally genius. So if people are calling you weird, distant, or different right now, smile. That's your early signal that you're going the right way. The best thing about walking alone is you stop depending on energy from others. You build your own. You don't need claps. Your progress becomes your applause. You don't need validation. Your work speaks louder than words, because walking alone teaches you one thing that no friend group ever can: how to love your own company. And when you learn that, you become unstoppable, unbreakable, and unpredictable. You know, people always say, bro, I can't focus. I'm distracted. Of course, you get distracted because you're surrounded by noise. The moment you learn to walk alone, the noise disappears. And that's when life starts talking to you. But here's the hard truth. Walking alone isn't about just cutting people off. It's about building yourself so strong that you don't need to rely on anyone. When you're alone, your biggest enemy is not boredom. It's your mind. That voice that says you can't do this. You have to learn to silence that voice by proving it wrong every day. Discipline. That's your new best friend. Now, you don't need motivation every morning. You need discipline. Motivation says, I'll do it when I feel like it. Discipline says, I'll do it even when I don't. When The Rock wakes up at 4:00 a.m. to train, it's not because he loves it every day. It's because he made a promise himself and he keeps it no matter how he feels. When you start keeping promises yourself, your confidence skyrockets. You realize, I don't need anyone to push me. And listen, walking alone doesn't mean you isolate yourself from the world. It means you build peace inside you that the world can't touch. When you're alone, learn to enjoy small things. Read, work out, take walks, learn new skills, talk to yourself like you talk to your best friend. Because guess what? You are your best friend. You've got to reach a point where you're so in love with your purpose that loneliness feels like luxury. Where your focus becomes louder than your fears. The biggest trap in today's world is comparison. You walk alone for 1 week and suddenly you see your friends posting beach trips, car selfies, new outfits, and your mind goes, maybe I'm missing out. You're not missing out. You're investing in silence. While they post stories, you're building one worth telling. When you walk alone, your progress is invisible for a while. No likes, no comments, no recognition. But one day, all that quiet effort will make so much noise that even those who ignored you will have to listen. So here's what you do every day. Give 1 hour to yourself. No phone, no people, no noise, just you and your thoughts. Because success doesn't come from meetings. It comes from moments of solitude where you plan, reflect, and act. Every dream you have needs space to breathe. And that space is created when you walk alone. So if you're walking alone right now, don't rush to find company. Use that time to find clarity. Because one day people will beg for your time and you'll smile remembering when no one had time for you. That's the reward of walking alone. You start with silence, you end with respect. Ladies and gentlemen, one day you'll look back at your life and realize the people you were crying for didn't even deserve your time. The things you were chasing weren't even important. And the nights you spent alone overthinking were the nights that built you. You'll smile and think, if I hadn't walked alone back then, I'd still be stuck where I was. Because Life doesn't reward the crowd. It rewards the one who had the courage to walk when no one else did. You see, walking alone is like climbing a mountain. At the bottom, it's noisy, full of people talking, laughing, doubting. But the higher you climb, the quieter it gets because few people can handle the altitude of discipline. And when you finally reach the top, you don't hear noise anymore. You hear peace. You look down and realize every step, every lonely night, every sacrifice was worth it. Let me tell you something beautiful. Every lion walks alone. Only sheep move in groups. The lion doesn't care who follows. It just hunts. That's why it's the king. And that's how you must become in your life. Not the loudest liked, but the most focused. Because your strength doesn't come from people who walk with you. It comes from the fire that burns within you. People will leave. It's part of the plan. Friends will change. Circles will shrink. Relationships will fade. But don't chase what walks away. Because every time something leaves, space opens up for something greater. Use that space to grow. Use that silence to listen. Because the person you are becoming deserves the peace you once begged others to give you. And one day you'll meet that version of yourself. The one who didn't quit when it was lonely, who kept walking when no one clapped, who stayed disciplined when everyone else partied. That version will look at you and say, we did it alone. And at that moment, you'll understand you never really walked alone. The whole time your purpose was walking with you. So walk proud, walk focused. And if you have to walk alone, walk like a king. Thank you for listening. And don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends.